You're sitting outside on a nice day. Then you hear it, a buzzing, low at first, then louder, then much, much louder. You look up, and sitting on your fence, staring directly at you, is a mosquito the size of a golden retriever. And it is hungry. Today, we find out what happens to the world if insects become as big as a dog. First, we need to answer one question. Why are insects small in the first place? Because they weren't always. Around 300 million years ago, during a period called the Carboniferous, the Earth had oxygen levels much higher than today. About 35% of the air was oxygen, compared to 21% now. And in that oxygen-rich atmosphere, insects got massive. There were dragonflies with wingspans wider than a crow, millipedes that stretched longer than your arm, scorpions bigger than house cats. Then, oxygen levels dropped, and the insects shrank. Here's why. Insects don't breathe the way we do. They don't have lungs. Instead, they have a network of tiny tubes running through their entire bodies, called tracheae. These tubes carry oxygen directly to their cells. The problem? These tubes can only work over short distances. The bigger the insect gets, the harder it is to get enough oxygen to the parts far away from the openings. So there's a natural ceiling on how large an insect can grow before it basically starts suffocating itself from the inside. That's the real reason insects are small. Not because evolution didn't try to make them bigger, it's because their breathing system won't allow it. So, in our hypothetical, we need to give insects a small upgrade. Better breathing, more efficient oxygen delivery. We're not going to make a big deal of it. We're just going to hand them functional lungs and move on, because the really interesting part isn't how they got big, it's what happens next. The ant. Let's start with something that sounds manageable. The ant. A dog-sized ant would weigh around 25 to 30 kilograms. That's a medium-sized dog, a Labrador, roughly. Now, here's the thing about ants. They're already pound for pound one of the strongest creatures on Earth. An ant can carry up to 50 times its own body weight. Some species can lift 100 times their weight. Scale that up to dog size, and you have an animal that could pick up a small car. Not drag it, pick it up. And ants don't work alone. They work in colonies, thousands of them, hundreds of thousands. So you wouldn't be dealing with one dog-sized ant. You'd be dealing with an army of dog-sized ants, all working together toward a common goal. That goal, by the way, is food, and we would very much qualify as food. The mosquito. Okay, the mosquito. A regular mosquito weighs about 2.5 milligrams. A dog-sized mosquito, let's say the size of a German Shepherd, would weigh around 25 to 30 kilograms. It would need to feed on blood. That's just what mosquitoes do. The females need protein from blood to produce eggs. And at this size, a single feeding session wouldn't be a small, itchy bump. It would drain several liters of blood from a human. That's a lethal amount. A dog-sized mosquito wouldn't just be annoying, it would be one of the most dangerous predators on the planet. It would actively hunt large mammals, including us, and a single bite could be fatal. And remember, regular mosquitoes are already the deadliest animal on Earth. They kill more humans every year than sharks, lions, crocodiles, and snakes combined, purely through the diseases they carry: malaria, dengue, Zika. Now, scale that up. A dog-sized mosquito carrying malaria, hunting you actively, capable of draining you dry in under a minute. We'd have a real problem. The cockroach. Here's the one everyone was dreading. The cockroach. Dog-sized cockroaches would be about as big as a medium dog. Fast, armored, and essentially indestructible. Cockroaches are already famously hard to kill. They can survive without food for a month. They can live for a week without their head. They can withstand radiation levels that would kill a human almost instantly. Scale that toughness up to dog size, and you have something that shrugs off almost everything you throw at it. They'd also be fast. Cockroaches at their current size can run at about 5 kilometers per hour, which doesn't sound fast until you remember they're doing it on 6 legs. And they can turn instantly and squeeze through gaps that seem impossible. At dog size, they'd be sprinting at speeds closer to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. They'd be eating everything. Cockroaches are scavengers. They'll eat paper, fabric, leather, rotting wood, and yes, human food. At dog size, a cockroach could tear through your kitchen in minutes, and they breed fast. A single female cockroach can produce 300 to 400 offspring in her lifetime. At this scale, an infestation wouldn't be a pest control problem. It would be a national emergency.
The praying mantis. Okay.
Here's a slightly more complicated one, because the praying mantis is terrifying in a different way. At dog size, a praying mantis would be an ambush predator, unlike almost anything else alive. They're already one of the most efficient hunters in the insect world. They catch prey with a strike so fast the human eye can barely track it. Their front legs snap shut at speeds of up to 150 kilometers per hour. At dog size, that strike would hit with the force of something closer to a bear trap than a bug. They're also camouflage experts. Mantises are famous for blending into plants, leaves, flowers. A dog-sized mantis hiding in a bush or a tree wouldn't just look like part of the landscape, it would look like a very convincing pile of branches, until it didn't. And female mantises famously sometimes eat the male after mating. At this size, that's just adding another layer to an already deeply unsettling creature. The bee. The bee is the one that actually gives me hope in this scenario. Dog-sized bees would still be pollinators. They'd still be going flower to flower, collecting nectar and pollen, doing the work that about 1/3 of all human food depends on. The difference is scale. A single dog-sized bee could pollinate an entire orchard in an afternoon. Farming would change completely. A handful of hives could do what thousands of normal bees do today. But, and this is a big but, bees sting when they feel threatened. And at dog size, a bee sting wouldn't just be painful and maybe dangerous for people with allergies. It would be a spike the length of a kitchen knife, delivering venom in amounts that would be lethal to almost any human. So yes, the bees help. The bees are also genuinely deadly. Complicated relationship.
Cities. Let's walk through what cities look like now.
The first thing that goes is anywhere with standing water. Ponds, puddles, drainage ditches, decorative fountains. All of these become mosquito breeding grounds at an absolutely catastrophic scale. Cities that don't drain their water constantly become uninhabitable within weeks. Underground infrastructure is next. Ants and cockroaches at dog size would tunnel through soil with incredible speed. The foundations of buildings, underground pipes, subway tunnels, all of it becomes vulnerable. Not because the insects are trying to attack infrastructure, just because they're going where they've always gone. Only now they're big enough to actually damage things. Parks and green spaces become no-go zones. After dark, mantises, beetles, and other ambush predators would colonize anywhere with plants, and the darkness gives them every advantage. Humans would adapt. We'd have to. Screens on windows would need to be made of something closer to chain-link fencing. Cars would need reinforced exteriors. The way we build, the way we design, everything would shift around the new reality of what's sharing the world with us. Outside of cities, the change is even more dramatic. Forests, which are already teeming with insect life, would become almost impassable for humans. Not impossible, but you wouldn't go into a forest the way you do now, wandering casually with a backpack. You'd go prepared, armed, alert. The food chain would be completely rewritten. Right now, birds eat insects. Frogs eat insects. Lizards eat insects. All of those animals would suddenly be prey instead of predators. A dog-sized mantis would eat a bird of prey for breakfast. A colony of dog-sized ants would overwhelm a pack of wolves. The animals that survive and thrive in this new world would be the big ones: elephants, rhinos, hippos, large bears, animals large enough that even a group of dog-sized insects would think twice. Everything smaller would be in real trouble, and the insects themselves would start filling new ecological roles. In a world where they're the dominant land animals, they diversify rapidly over generations. Some might become specialized for even larger prey. Others might develop new behaviors to compete with each other. The world that exists now, the food web, the ecosystem, the balance between species, all of it rewrites itself from the ground up. Farming, agriculture, as we know it, would collapse almost immediately. Right now, insects are already the #1 enemy of crop farmers. Locusts, aphids, beetles, caterpillars, they already destroy billions of dollars of crops every year, and we fight them constantly with pesticides, barriers, and traps. At dog size, a swarm of locusts wouldn't strip a field. It would strip a country. A single locust swarm today can contain up to 80 million insects per square kilometer. Now, make each one the size of a dog. The amount of food they consume doesn't scale linearly. Dog-sized locusts would need thousands of times more food per insect. A single day's feeding by a swarm of that size would be enough to strip the vegetation from an area the size of a small nation. Humans would have to completely rethink food production. Greenhouses, fully enclosed, insect-proof, climate-controlled, underground farming, vertical, indoor growing systems. Anything that gets food out of the open air and behind a barrier. Ironically, the bees would become the most valuable creatures on the planet. Protected, farmed, carefully managed, because without them, even the crops we manage to grow indoors couldn't be pollinated. So, the real question, could we make it? Honestly, yes, but not easily, and not everyone. Humans are creative in a way that no other species on Earth can match. We've survived ice ages, volcanic winters, pandemics, and every predator evolution has ever thrown at us. We'd survive this too, but it would reshape everything about how we live. The first and most obvious change, we'd go inside. Humans are an outdoor species by nature. We build cities and parks and outdoor spaces because being outside feels natural and good. That would change. Most of life would happen behind walls, under roofs, in sealed environments. Protective clothing would become standard. Going outside wouldn't be like going for a walk. It would be more like going for a dive. You'd gear up, thick materials, face protection, something to cover exposed skin. Weapons would evolve fast. We already have pesticides, chemicals designed to kill insects by attacking their nervous systems. At dog size, the doses required would be much larger, but the basic science still works. We'd also develop new physical tools, traps, barriers, deterrents. Humans are very, very good at killing things that threaten us when we put our minds to it. Cities would become more fortified, not in a dramatic medieval castle way, but practically. Better ceiling, better lighting, active insect deterrent systems built into infrastructure. The way we build fire suppression systems now, and over generations we'd adapt culturally too. Children would grow up knowing which insects are dangerous and how to behave around them. New skills, new knowledge, new instincts built into daily life. Humanity wouldn't be wiped out, but humanity would be fundamentally changed. Okay, real talk for a moment. We already covered the breathing problem. The tracheal system breaks down at large sizes. But there's actually another reason dog-sized insects can't exist, and it's called the square cube law. Here's the short version. When you scale something up, its volume, and therefore its weight, grows much faster than its surface area. Double the size of an ant, and it's 8 times heavier, but its legs are only 4 times stronger. At dog size, an insect's legs simply wouldn't be able to support its own body weight. The exoskeleton, that hard outer shell that insects use instead of an internal skeleton, would crack under the pressure. A dog-sized beetle would essentially collapse under itself the moment it tried to stand up. And the wings, oh, the wings. The math on flying gets brutal, fast. The energy required to fly scales up much faster than an insect's muscle power can keep up with. A dog-sized bee would need wings and flight muscles so powerful relative to its body that the physics basically don't work. So yes, in the real world, this can't happen. Physics says no. But we already ignored physics when we gave them better lungs. So we're going to go ahead and give them structurally reinforced exoskeletons and super efficient flight muscles too. You know, while we're at it, science will see you on the other side.
So, what if insects were the size of dogs?
Agriculture would collapse and have to rebuild from scratch. Cities would become fortified. Forests would belong to something other than us. The food chain, everything we think of as the natural order, would flip. And yet, humans would survive because we always find a way. We'd be more careful, more protected, more aware of sharing the world with creatures that could genuinely hurt us, which honestly, we probably should have been doing anyway. The insects were always there, always running their own world, in the cracks and corners of ours. We just got used to them being small enough to ignore. In this version of Earth, you couldn't ignore them anymore. And maybe, just maybe, that wouldn't be the worst thing. Next time, what if one of the most terrifying ocean predators that ever lived, never went extinct and kept evolving for 3 million more years. You already know what we're talking about, but that is a story for another What If.